Hello everybody, welcome to episode 16 of the Tamagotchi V5 series here. And of course we are chilling with the new set of Tamagotchis here. As you know, they have already evolved. Well, you probably don't know, because I figured you do know because of the timing and stuff like that, but you never know. You never know, people could be joining in from right now, from episode 16. It's a weird place out there, just think about that. But, there we go, we got the 3 Tamagotchis here, so let's look into their naming conventions real quickly. And our bonds are low, because that's what we're trying to keep up with. We got Ichigochi, which I was right about that. I'm super glad about that. That is our daughter. We got Bakuchi, which, Baku just means explosive, and I see it's a bomb. Pretty funny name. And then we got Selchi, which, as you see, just a shell on her head. And it's another daughter. And then we got Mama Mechi, and Meme Papachi. Overall, we're doing pretty well. From where I'm wanting to go to. I know people might be looking at this and being like, what do you mean you're doing well? You got really low bonding and stuff like that. And yeah, that's kind of what we're wanting, actually. So the idea is we're wanting to turn Ichigochi into a weird fuzzy princess thing. And to get that, you actually have to keep to a low bonding rate and stuff like that. So currently we've been pretty much just abusing bonds and stuff like that in a way. So, for example, every once in a while I have to keep avoiding the whole bonding thing, so bonds actually go down, because basically we're trying to keep to 40% or lower, and it's pretty much this. I'm just keeping very low. Just gotta keep low! Gotta keep low. But as you see here, with our low characters, we're actually doing pretty well. I actually kind of like these guys. Love all of them. Really like the whole look and aesthetic of each one of them. Bakuchi, I always like the look of it. I don't know. Every time I see Bakuchi, I'm like, oh, I really like that. And then I'm kind of sad that it never, like, evolves into anything that would, like, be continuous of the explosion. Anyone ever sad about that? Like how's there not, like, an explosion chi or something like that? I don't know. Or, like, a fireball chi or something like that? I don't know. I always think about that. Woo! I did change the time slightly so I could record this, but, well, I'm super excited to be on all these guys. I'm super happy to have all of them here. And I guess we could do a little bonding animation here real quickly. They're not going to do too much. It's pretty much going to be Ichigochi doing that. Because these two won't go up till unless we raise our bonds. And we're not doing that. Because, like I said, we really don't want to raise our bonds. We're actually trying to keep them low. Because if we get Ichigochi and just pop them into the last stage that we're needing them to, they'll pretty much evolve. And then we get to use the little item in this little thing right here. And get a whole little change evolution. Which in this device, there's 2 of them. One for Mamachi, where you can evolve it into a Kuro Mamachi, and then one with the character we're trying to get, and evolve it into a fuzzy princess thing. So super exciting on both of those ends. Really, I don't know. There's not much really going on with this kind of run. It's just us keeping stats low, and pretty much that's it. And me pretty much just giving them bad care to keep them stats low. Well, not bad, like, care. And this device actually works a bit differently. You can actually just, like, feed them and, like, give them treats and stuff like that whenever, and they won't really argue with you. What I'm pretty much doing is avoiding bonding events. Each time you avoid, like, a bonding event, it has a chance to drop the bonds. So basically, every once in a while, I'll do 1 bonding event. So, like, my max quota for, like, the day has been, like, doing, like, 2 or 3. So pretty much I get, like, the 1 bonding event out, and then avoid a bunch of them, and then possibly do another bonding event, and then avoid a bunch of them again, and then I may be thinking about doing a 3rd one. Pretty much just trying to keep them down the pathway, because every time you do a bonding event, it activates, like, 3 pathways, and you're just trying to keep up to one of the 3 pathways, and that's what I've been doing. So I've been sticking to the middle pathway. That will allow us to go down this wonderful route that I'm trying to take us to. I kind of forget what the actual names of each of the pathways are. I think it's like intelligent, cheerful, and something else. I kind of forget the naming conventions, but like each one of them, it opens up like a whole wide sort of variety of Tamagotchis you can get. Which is really cool. I really like the idea that like you get to see like 3 different Tamagotchi types just appear from that. I always like this concept is always very interesting to me. Kind of sad that, like, we never kind of went back to really, like, multiple characters on the device, really. I think the only time we ever got to see that was, like, in a sense, if we're talking about it, see if I can grab one of these devices out, is pretty much when Digimon went back to the concept with the 20th devices. And I get, like, Digimon did it 2 times in a row and then kind of called it quits. Well, technically 3 times in a row, but, like, the 3rd time's pretty much just a remake of the first one. And in Digimon, they kind of did the whole, like, 2 separate characters on a device. This one doesn't really have the whole separate thing. You're pretty much just raising one virtual bet as this, but in the style, it looks like it's 3 of them. But, like, no matter what, like, each of them has, like, the same stats and everything. It doesn't really change too crazily and stuff like that. Unlike the Digimon one here, where you're technically raising 2 separate virtual bets. Each one is very functionally different from each other. And to the point to where you can actually raise one as good care and raise the other one as bad care. Always been a fan of this device. This is one of these devices I need to run on the channel at some point. I know I have like an old series, but don't watch the old series. I listed it as old because it's really, 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 really bad. I need to redo this device at some point. At some point, we'll be redoing this device. I love this device, but pretty much like it's a type of experience for this one. I love it, but we'll fix what I've done. One day we'll fix it, especially because I own too many versions of the 20th device, so it will happen at some point. So it's another one of those revisits. Like this series is pretty much a revisit because you can watch the original series for this one. It's just a very cluttered mess of like what's going on. And to be honest, like I didn't really understand the concepts at the time. And to be honest, I was trying to run a version 5 with a version 5.5. Which, by the way, I don't recommend doing that. The only reason why I did it was because at the time I had this weird sort of idea that running 2 Tamagotchis for like one series was a good idea. To be honest, I blame that on like how nice the V3 makes running 2 of them at the same time work out. I'm going to say that probably doesn't work out well for some of the later connections. Well, for the V5, it doesn't work out. To be honest, I can see running 2 of them for, like, the V4 and, like, version 4.5 and stuff like that. Like, I can see that working out for those type of series. But for something like the V5 here, where it's so time-specific, having 2 devices that have different timing conventions kind of makes it pretty hard. So I don't really recommend it, especially with this device where you do have to spend a lot of time raising bonds and stuff like that. It's very hard keeping up with 2 of them. Like, in my personal experience, it's not the easiest to sit down and keep up with both of them at once. We will do a redo series on the version 5.5. Not immediately, though, because that would kind of ruin the point and stuff like that. Also, because I think it'd be kind of boring. And also because after the series, we did make a promise to do a nice little Gigapet series. Which I don't know how long the Gigapet series will be going on for. Like, I was trying to look into that device. I don't think that series will be as long as I thought it would be. To be honest, I don't know much about Gigapets. Gigapets are kind of weird. Like, the only experience I've had running them, like, they're always kind of, like, very different from the Tamagotchi point of view. But to be honest, they don't feel like they have, like, the continuous growth patterns and stuff like that. I don't know. Gigapets are, like, one of those things where, like my first deep dive will be with the next series, with the Cryptids one, because in my personal experience, I've just not had the greatest runs with them. And to be honest, I feel like I need to do this, because at this point, like, with the Gigapets line, I truly think Gigapets is pretty much dead at this point. For those who don't know, the people who are making the modern version of Gigapets got bought out by Crazy Art, and we haven't heard from them since. And, like, I think it's been about a year since they got bought out and stuff like that. So, like, I think pretty much, like, the last line of Gigapets was like, the Cryptids and, like, the Star Kitty and Compu Kitty. Like, they were getting really advanced. And, like, the only other release we've seen from them since then has been, like, the world's smallest line here, which had these, like, 2 little miniature ones. But besides that, we really haven't seen them again. And to be honest, I don't think they really even say Crazy Art on these things either. Yeah, it just says Super Impulse and stuff like that. Doesn't even mention, like, Top Secret Toys or anything like that. So, I'm kind of curious. I don't know if this was like a license deal that was supposed to happen and then like got finished up or whatever. Because you never know with that. Because sometimes there are license deals that the companies make before getting bought out that like they had to finish out before, and they still have the rights to finish them out. So that's probably just what these two things are. Because they're not the most advanced versions of either one of these Gigapets either. Still need to get the actual version of the CompuKitty at some point. I think it's like one of the few Gigapets I am missing from the modern line. And to be honest, I kind of bought a lot of them, the modern line, recently, because weirdly I went inside, like, what was it? It was some, like, food place or whatever. I went inside, and weirdly they had a bunch of the modern Gigapets, and I was like, I'll buy them up. And then after that, I went to, like, a lunchbox store, and they had, like, the cryptids one. So who knows? Just look outside in the real world, and you'll find some of the Gigapet things. And I only own one retro Gigapet. Well, not even a Gigapet, it's a Gigafighter. It's a Gigafighter. I don't know why this episode's kind of focusing so hard on Gigapets. I think it's just because we don't really have much to talk about in this episode. And also because, like, after pretty much this evolution stage, we'll be aiming towards the whole, like, getting it to evolve, and then it's kind of it, weirdly enough. Like, in a weird sense. Because I'm not going to aim for Kuromamachi in this series. Sorry for those who did want to see Kuromamachi, but I just don't think it'd make a lot of sense to, like, kind of extend out whatever I was trying to do. And to be honest, there's not much really going on this device. After we do the item transformation, I don't think really anything else kind of happens. We've already done the family. We've already done, we've already done the peer family. I don't think there's really much of a difference with, like, whatever those, like, specific family types are. And we've already had, like, the special character happen with the whole Hoshichi and stuff like that. So, like, pretty much we've kind of done everything in this device in a weird sense. Though I will be sad to see it go, because I actually really did enjoy this device. I always enjoy running the connections. I need at some point to do, like, a connection tier list and, like, just talk about each one of them. But, like, I always enjoyed running these connection devices, because they're all so, like, weird and, like, interesting in design and stuff like that. And each one of them does, like, such unique things that, like, you kind of never think about it in a way. Like, they're always very interesting in a sense. Like, each one of them has, like, their own sort of unique functions and stuff like that. Well, except for well, I can't even say that yet, because I haven't even ran the version 3 yet properly. I do actually have a version 3. I've ran the Japanese versions. And I've run the remakes, but I've not run the original version of it. Which is crazy to think about that. But yeah, that's kind of pretty much it for right now. So we will see all of y'all next time in the next episode. And thank y'all for watching. And I'm pretty much going to go back to working on the D3 episode, because I had to kind of finish that up quickly. Well, I say finish that up, but I still have to record, like, the ending segment. And so that pretty much means I have to get a bit of walking done. And then after I get my bit of walking done, record the little segment. And then that episode will be out in the world.